wanted to get together a little collection of an affordable version of a single P90 guitar. This was the benchmark, really. I needed to find the versions of the Les Paul Jr. that they made over the years for this kind of money. Well, you can't go wrong with this, can you? It's 169 quid. So onto the Epiphone, one of the knobs has just fallen off. The first thing that strikes you about this guitar is it smells, not in a nice way. I don't know what it is. Hi everyone, thanks for joining us this morning, or whatever it is. So today I wanted to, very briefly show off this little thing here. This is my #1 guitar. This is 1962 Gibson Les Paul Jr. Well, it leaves me speechless, to be honest with you. It's a great guitar. I picked this as a proper vintage guitar. Obviously, it's all original. The holes are from where the tremolo came off. The original tremolo, that's in the box. But it's this single P90 wraparound bridge. And when you mix that with the old wood, 1962, it's light as a feather. It's my favourite ever guitar. I love SGs, as you probably know by now. And this is just outstanding. And it's a vintage guitar. If you're thinking of getting into vintage guitars, check these things out, because Gibson SGs from the 60s and 70s are still affordable. I only paid £2.5 grand for this about 3 years ago. Proper bargain, brilliant guitar, 2-boot. You can own proper vintage guitars and spend less than it will cost you on a Gibson custom shop, let alone an aged relict Gibson custom shop. The Junior is without doubt one of my favourite guitars, and a lot of people will tell you that just having a single P90 is quite liberating. It makes you play differently, try and play differently, and experiment a little bit more, without relying on all these switching options, with 2 pickups, let alone coil split and all that malarkey. So let me put this one down. So the point of this film is I wanted to get together a little collection of an affordable version of a single P90 guitar, so that you can see what's out there if you wanna spend just a few pounds on trying that sort of thing out. So this is a little collection of what I managed to get together. Let me show you them one by one. So first off, obviously, is the Epiphone Les Paul Jr., which we did review on the channel a while back. Links in the description box below if you want to check that out. But this one came in at £299. So this was the benchmark, really. I needed to find the versions of the Les Paul Jr. that they made over the years for this kind of money. So this is the double cut Les Paul Jr. that I found. Unfortunately, Epiphone don't make this version currently. Gibson do make it in their silly shop, the ones that cost a house. So I didn't want to get one of them. So that was out of the question. So I ended up getting this one that's made by the Vantage brand. I call them Vantage because vintage is a little bit misleading if I call it a vintage guitar. The one I showed you earlier is a vintage guitar. This isn't. This is a Vantage guitar. But it looks right, doesn't it? It looks the right shape. So this one came in at £245. So it's in the right kind of ballpark. The only other options that I could find in the DC double cut at this particular style was Tokai, but they're you know, they're getting up towards 500 quid. So this is the one I plumped for. And then you got, you know, my SG Junior or my Les Paul Junior, whatever you want to call it. It's again, Epiphone don't make the SG Junior currently. I'm really hoping they bring that out next year, but at the moment they don't, and nobody else does either. Tokai used to. You can't get them for love nor money. So this was the closest that I could actually get to the SG Junior, and this is the old Harley Benton. It was a little bit cheaper, this one. I mean, this came in at £169, but it was really the only option that we had for SG Junior, and I thought, well, I know, you know, they're known for making decent guitars, Harley Benton, in spite of the apparent cheapness. So I thought, well, okay, we'll get this in. It's nearly the right shape. Let's see what it does. And then finally, it's not a copy. It's an original. It's definitely a Junior, and it is the Epiphone Coronet. And again, this is one of the first ones reviewed on the channel. The link's in the description box below. This had to be, you know, this had to be in the little shootout, I suppose, here. Now, I use the term shootout, but it's not a competition, and we're not trying to decide which is best. It's simply just a comparison side by side, really. Let's look at the similarities. Let's look at the differences. Let's see if they sound the same, blah, 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 all of that stuff. It's just for fun. It's just really, if you're thinking about getting a single P90 guitar to give it a go, this might help you with that decision, or it might not. Okay, so let's get on to it. What we're going to do is we're going to stick each one of the guitars in front of me here on the bench, and we're going to whiz through the specs, see what they're made of. We'll measure the pickups for all the guitars. We'll look in the control cavities, see what the pots are made of. We'll measure the necks and look at the profiles, and we'll hear each guitar individually, and we'll hear them all together in context, in a jam. All right, so let's get busy. Cheers. So let's have a whiz through the guitar specs, and we won't go into huge forensic detail today. I'm not going to take the strings off and go inside to pick up cavities, but we'll do everything else. We'll look at what it's made of and stuff. So let's start with what I was going to do before I started recording, which was to try and work out how many pieces this is made of. There's one join. There's two joins. Okay, I can see this is 3-piece mahogany. 3 pieces. I can see that from the seams on the end there. Previously, I have stated that you can't tell because it has this veneer on the front and the back of these Epiphones. But I was being a bit stupid, and a few people have kindly pointed out that you can just look at the end and you can see the seams. You won't be able to see that probably on these cameras, but there's a join there and there's a join there. And as far as I can tell, that's all it is. So it's 3-piece mahogany body with a mahogany neck. As we know, this has got a heel joint there and a scarf joint there. This has got the Epiphone Deluxe tuners with the white buttons, and Indian Laurel fingerboard, medium jumbo frets. Got a Graph Tack tusk nut on these Epiphones. Single volume, single tone. They've all got single. They're all the same. The setup's all the same on all these guitars. Single volume, single tone. One single dog ear P90 pickup. On this, it's an Epiphone P90. That's what it is. And this wraparound tailpiece is called the lightning bar tailpiece because of this. What is effectively a lightning bar that runs along it, which adds additional compensations for intonation. So, And if you've seen the review that we did of this, you know, you'll know that this is a very fine guitar. It sounds great. It really does the job. So we like this a lot. Let's move on. So this is the Les Paul. Well, this is based on. This is a knockoff of the Les Paul double cut, but it's you know, it's an authentic shape. The shape seems to be exactly right. So this is the Vantage brand. The first thing that strikes you about this guitar is it smells. Not in a nice way. It's got a really weird smell, which is. It's a little bit less so now than when it arrived, but when it arrived, it was really strong, and it was like that smell you get with new Gibson guitars, but not pleasant. I don't know what it is. It's not. It's weird. I can't explain it any more than that. It smells a bit strange, so you might need to give it a little bit of an airing if you get one of these when it arrives. So, yeah, Vantage. I think they're made in Indonesia, but they're designed in the UK, you know, by John Hornby Skews, and they're known to be, you know, good guitars for money. I mean, this came in at 200. I think it was £245, which is very cheap. Really, well, very cheap, I suppose. Yeah, it's a cheap guitar, isn't it? What's it made of? Okay, so it's mahogany body, mahogany neck, same as the others. Obviously you can't see what's under this finish. It's got, you know, it's quite a nice colour. I quite like the colour. It's a vintage white. It looks nice on the camera as well, actually, as I can see there. It's got a bit of a yellow sort of tinge to it, but it's cool. Wilkinson designed tuners, white button. That's actually got the pressing bushings on these, which is pretty cool. Wilkinson designed a wraparound bridge on this. This is a slightly different design. It's got some compensation adjustment for the G and the B string, so that could come in useful. Single Wilkinson designed dog ear. They call this a P100, in fact, but it's essentially their version of a P90. Single tone, single volume. Lignum Rosa fretboard. Looks quite dark. It's quite attractive. Medium jumbo frets. There you go. Next one. It's on the Harley Benton, the SG Junior, the only SG Junior that we could find. So this one here, £169 landed. Mahogany body, mahogany neck. You can see it's 4-piece body, this one. So you can tell it's 4 pieces. It's got a massive old scarf joint on the neck there and a heel joint there. Not that I'm saying that critically, it's just the way it is. It's not a problem as far as I'm concerned. I felt the neck on this was nicer. It was chunkier than the. I don't know what it is. We'll measure it and we'll find out. It felt quite nice. This has got. What's the fingerboard on this? This has got an amaranth fretboard. I don't know what that is, but it's got one. It's got medium jumbo frets. It's got a graphite nut on this. Wilkinson Deluxe tuners, I'd say these are identical to the ones on the Vantage. White button. It's got the bushings on that as well. It's got a Roswell Alnico 5 P90 on that dog ear, as you can see. And this is what we call a badass style bridge. So if anyone ever refers to a badass bridge. This is pretty much what they're talking about. It's this kind of, they used to replace the simple wraparound bridges on Juniors a lot with this style back in the day. And it's just got, you know, it's a similar design, but it's got individual string adjustment for intonation. So a lot of people like those. I prefer the originals personally, but that's just my preference. So, so there you go. It's almost the right shape. It's not exactly. I'll show you. That's what it looks like compared to a real one, shape-wise. Hope you can see that. It's got a bit of a more of a point on the upper horn there. Which is fair enough. I mean, you know, it's a knockoff. It's not licensed at all, so they're probably, it may be a design thing, or it may be to avoid getting sued by Gibson. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. It's got a lot of people will like that. It's, you know, it's got a nice kind of it's got a nice vibe to it. Anyway, okay, and let's look at the Epiphone Coronet. As I say, this is an original reissue of an original and a proper classic guitar. Again, it's got a mahogany body and a mahogany neck. Again, you can't see how many pieces of wood under this lovely ebony finish. It's got the Epiphone Deluxe white button tuners again. This has got the pressing bushings. This has got what they call the bikini logo on this, which is very cool, which is, you know, a vintage correct thing. Also, it has the lightning bar wraparound bridge and a single dog ear P90 Epiphone pickup. Single tone, single volume. This one's got a nice top hat knobs with the metal inserts. Very cool. And Indian Laurel fingerboard, medium jumbo frets. Right, so what we'll do is we're going to plug these in and start having a little listen to what they sound like, and then we'll spin in the nerdy data stuff. You know, we're going to measure the pickups, measure the necks, and we'll have a look inside the control cavities. But we'll spin that in a little while. So over to me, plugged in. So this is the Epiphone Coronet. You know, we've reviewed this. This was one of the first guitars that I reviewed when I started doing this almost a year ago today, actually. It's one of the first guitars that, if not the first, actually, it might not have been the actual first, but I think it might have been the second. I remember I was quite happy with my playing, but I was a bit shy back then, so I didn't talk very much. So AC15. Let's have a listen. Now that's with no drive pedals. That's the top boost on a Vox AC15 C1. With the P90, and it'll be interesting to see if all these guitars do this, but with a single P90, if you get the amp driving like this, driving like that, and then you clean it up by just backing off the volume. See, that's what it's on like 7. And if you whack up to 10, so the tone's fully up there. Back that off as well. yeah, so that's so put a bit of drive on it, put a bit of a tube screamer on it. We're using the Klon KTR again today. Okay, let's try the vintage, the Vantage. Straight out of the box. I haven't played this yet. Oh, the smell. I can smell it. I don't know what it is. Feels nice. So this is just okay. Volume control doesn't really work. It's kind of that's on. It's full volume. That's 6. That's 4. That's 3. That's 2. That's 1, and that's off. Okay. So it's not going to clean up with the volume control. Okay. That's off. Okay, so the controls on the Vintage don't work basically. So you'd need to change them unless you do what I did for years and years when I used to play. I always used to have them on 10 anyway. So if you just want balls out, rock and roll, no problem. It's a shame you can't. These are not usables, really. That's a shame. So you kind of, and it's a bit hot. I'd like to just be able to clean it up just by turning it down a bit. You can't really do it. Okay. So onto the Epiphone, one of the knobs has just fallen off. I thought that was loose earlier. Hang on, just pick that up. So one of me knobs is. Let's see if it's going to go back on. Yeah, no problem. Right, Epiphone. Tune in. So we've reviewed this one as well, as you may well know. We'll put the links to these in there, and we'll also put them all in the description box below, so you don't have to click on that straight away. But if you want to come back later and look at the individual reviews of this one and the Coronet, you can. So full chat, no drive pedal. See there, 7 already. You can nicely clean it up. tone control. Yeah, and drive, you've got winner. I mean, I don't mean winner in the sense that it's the winner of this shootout. I mean, it's a winner, and we knew that already. This, I paid £299 for it. I mean, fucking hell. Talking of cheap guitars, let's look at the Harley Benton. See what this has got to offer. I mean, SG Junior is, yeah, my thing, as I've probably told you thousands of times. So this is almost an SG Junior. So let's see. Here we go. Full chat, no drive. Yeah, as I would have expected, it sort of sounds brighter than the, certainly than the Epiphones. Obviously it's got a thinner body, and I would have expected that. So, still got that distinctive P90 roar. See if the volume... necessarily in the same league as the Epiphone, which I think they're both CTS pots anyway, but it does work. And the tone. Yeah, same really, not quite as good as the Epiphones, but it's got a taper, so it's not my imagination. The frets seem massive on this. They really seem massive. But it's pretty cool. I mean, this is so cheap. So yeah, okay. Again, it's got that roar, hasn't it? So. Okay. Well, let's have a play of them all and in context and see what they sound like when they go into battle. Okay, so on the Epiphone Coronet, the pickup measures 8.56 kilo ohms. And on the Harley Benton, the pickup measures 6.87 kilo ohms. And on the Les Paul single cut, it measures 8.66 kilo ohms. And on the Vantage double cut, it's 14.33 kilo ohms. Yeah, I did think it was a bit hot. I'm not entirely surprised by that. Okay. Okay, so let's weigh them. The Epiphone Les Paul Junior single cut weighs 7 pounds and 13 ounces, or 3.56 kilos. The Vantage double cut weighs 6 pound 10 ounces, or just over 3 kilos, that one. So the Harley Benton double cut SG thin weighs 6 pounds 13 ounces, or 3.11 kilos. And last but not least, the Epiphone Coronet weighs in at 6 pounds exactly, 2.72 kilos. And just for fun, my 62 Les Paul Junior weighs 5 pounds 6 ounces, or 2.44 kilos. Clearly the winner. Okay, so here's the neck profile and measurements for the Les Paul Junior. Here's the neck profile and measurements for the Vantage. Here's the neck profile and measurements for the Harley Benton. Here's the neck profile and measurements for the Epiphone Coronet. Here's the control cavity of the Epiphone Coronet, CTS 500k pots, and just a plug-in pickup there. Nice bit of shielding on the cavity cover. Well, actually, I'm speechless. I'm actually speechless. Yeah, I was speechless there for a second. It's all hand wired with Korean-made alpha pots. Yeah, it looks all right, doesn't it? Yeah, cool. Or as I call them, anarchist pots, because they've got an A in the middle. But actually, you can see it's alpha. It stands for alpha. Oh, well done. Cool. I'll just show you this as well, because I just noticed that the Harley Benton has got a volute on the headstock. Volute is a thing that they had on Gibsons for a little while. Back in the early 70s, they were putting volutes on the headstock to kind of strengthen that area there. It's interesting how Harley Benton have kind of, they seem to be sort of doing their own design thing a bit, which is good to see, isn't it? Okay, so the pots, the full-size pots, this is the Vantage, obviously. They're full-size pots. I can't, there's no name on them, so I can't actually see what they are, but they're full-size, which is encouraging. And you've got oh, actually that pickup. I've actually got that pickup has got 4-conductor wiring on it, so you can probably do something with that. I'm not sure what, if it's single coil, but something, I suppose. Can you? Don't know. Let me know if you know, will you? Because I don't. There you go, a little bit of shielding on the thing there. Cool. Okay, and there you go again. CTS pots, 500k, plug-in pickup. You know, that's the job, doesn't it? There you go. That's what they sound like in battle, if you like. So hopefully came across. I really enjoyed playing these. As I said earlier, my favourite guitar is single P90. You know, wraparound bridge, simplicity, no mucking around really. You can crank them up, or you can back the volume pot off, and there's loads going on with these things. So if you haven't tried one, hopefully that will maybe inspire you to give it a go. So what we got here is obviously a range of prices, but they're all ridiculously affordable. The Epiphones, you know, both of the Epiphones have been reviewed on this channel, and you know, check out those reviews if you haven't seen them. They're great guitars. They're fully formed. I mean, let's take them one at a time. So the Les Paul Junior, it's all there. You know, it's a great affordable version of the Gibson Les Paul Junior. So you know, that's just a given. The Epiphone Coronet is a brilliant variation on that, and you know, for the first time in a very, very long time. And I don't actually know if Epiphone had ever reissued this, but with their new ranges, you know, they've reintroduced some of these brilliant classic early 60s designs. This Coronet, the Riviera we just did a few weeks back, it's a fantastic guitar. And hopefully there's more, you know, where this came from Epiphone. But with this range, again, it's all there. It's a brilliant guitar. For what did I say? I paid for that $339 or something like that. It's just crazy. So then we go on to the knockoffs, as I like to call them. Because they are knockoffs, you know, they're copies. They're not authorised, but they're no less brilliant than the Epiphones for what they cost and what they stand for, I suppose. The vintage here as I did say earlier, it's not, you know, it's not a competition of one better than another. I'm just going to tell you what I believe the faults are with this particular guitar. And it's only, I mean, I don't like the smell, but beyond that, it's the electronics. The pots don't work. And you've got this crazy hot pickup, which I think is read almost double what the others did. And it's crazy hot. It's a screaming rock machine. I think in the playing bit, this was the one that was always balls out because it didn't really do anything else, to be honest with you, which is fine, because it costs 245 quid. You can buy CTS pots, high quality ones, for less than a tenner each. And if you wire them in, you'll be able to turn the volume down. So I suspect that's all it needs. You just need to be able to turn the volume down, and unfortunately you can't do it with this one. So I think beyond that, I've said before that I'm not, a massive fan of the headstocks, but that's my prejudice coming out there. Beyond that, there was nothing. I mean, I didn't set these two guitars up. I'd already played and reviewed the others, so I had probably done something to them. I can't remember. But these two here, I didn't touch them. So the vintage, I did mention earlier, I think, I don't know if it'll make the cut, but I did mention that I thought the intonation was out on this. So I do think the intonation needs looking at on the vintage. I didn't do that. I just played it, and it sounded okay for what I did on it. But I think you can, and obviously this is intonatable. There's quite a lot of movement in this bridge, so you can tweak it, no problem. But it's a cool looking guitar. If you want to do your Johnny Thunders bit, 259 quid will do the job. And if you want to make it a little bit more versatile, change the pots out. It's an easy job. And there you go, it's a winner. And then, the Harley Benton, I'll leave it last on this little roundup because it cost £169. You don't really expect very much at all for that sort of money, but it's a great guitar to play. I mean, I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. It's a really enjoyable guitar to play, and it sounds great. And in fact, this pickup being, it was a kind of a lower output, it gave it a really nice voice. And obviously the design of this guitar, the SG style guitar anyway, it did it all. It did it all. It's not quite on par with my vintage SG Les Paul Junior, but if you're looking for a good if you're looking to get into the SG experience, firstly, which we discussed last week, and if you want to combine that with the single P90 experience, well, you can't go wrong with this, can you? It's 169 quid. It's made in Indonesia. It's got quality, Wilkinson hardware on it, and we know that. Trevor Wilkinson makes quality hardware. It's a shame he didn't make pots, really, for the vintage. These are alpha pots in this one, so they're good. They do the job. And, this bridge is a bridge. It's a badass bridge. It does the job. And again, I didn't touch the setup of this out of the box. I hadn't even checked the intonation on this. I just played it. So all of the playing that you heard was as it came. And these controls worked well enough. They're not quite as good quality as the Epiphone ones, but you could improve that if you wanted to. The neck was strange. I think this seems to be asymmetrical. It doesn't say that in the specs. It felt nice. I did notice something about this that felt good. So maybe it was that. I don't know. I don't know. I shall have to look into that a little bit further. But to so summing up, there you go. There's 4. That's what seems to be available in the junior lineup currently. Please let me know if what else I could look at in this ballpark, would you? If there's another double cut that I've missed, if there's another SG Junior that I've missed, because I could only find those really represented in the Tokai range, which are more expensive or stroke unavailable. Beyond that, there don't seem to be any other knockoffs available at the moment. I wish Epiphone would do both of these, and I really hope, Mr. Epiphone, if you're watching, in the 2022 lineup, we need an SG Junior, proper vintage correct SG Junior with a fat neck, please. And we need a DC Junior with a fat neck, please. To join the single cut Les Paul Junior in the Epiphone range. And don't raise the prices either. We want to pay £300 for them, please. So there you go. If you could fix that for us, we'd be grateful. In the meantime, you can go and get these Harley Benton chaps if that tickles your fancy, or you can try the Vintage. Vintage did also used to do an SG Junior, but I think they've discontinued that now. Vintage also do a double cut, a single cut Junior, but we already have one of them, so didn't need that. So there you go. There you go. There's my little roundup of single P90 Juniors. I hope you've enjoyed watching that. I certainly have enjoyed making it for your entertainment, and I've certainly enjoyed playing these guitars. So let's go back to me now enjoying playing these guitars, and hopefully I'll see you again next week. Okay, cheers for now. Thanks, bye.